What is up, everybody? Welcome to a Sunday edition of Crunch Time on RotoGrinders, the final Major League Baseball slate before the All-Star break. So we've got a 4-day break coming up, which many people are probably looking forward to. The baseball's a grind, man. 162 games, 180 days, daily sport that, football, you get 18 weeks once a week. Baseball's just it's constant throughout the summer months, so I'm sure a lot of you are looking forward to the break. We'll talk about that here for a second as we get started, but intros first. I am Justin Van Zuden, STL Cardinals 84, as usual, here with a couple of reliable members on the weekend crew. We've got Tim Buell alongside today. Tim, what's up?
Yeah, not much. Pretty awesome slate today. 11 games. Really solid pitching options today. Not so great for the bats, but I think there's going to be some really condensed chalk today that we'll talk about, and I think there's some really nice contrarian stacks as well that we can discuss.
Yeah, I'm used to the last few Sundays. You get a Sunday night game. They've had that early start on Sundays, so most of the Sunday slates lately have been 7 or 8 games. So it's certainly nice to talk about 11 games, though I hadn't really looked at it a whole lot before this morning. And when I got up to write the article today, my first thought was, oh no, 11 games. That's going to take me a little bit longer to write. So I was a little more under the gun with getting the content in this morning. But certainly nicer to play and talk about, an 11 gamer on a Sunday as opposed to a 6, 7 or 8 gamer. And should be a fun slate as well. So we've got TJ Zwarich alongside as well. He's pulling double duty today with producing and co-hosting. TJ, what's up? How's your weekend?
Pretty good weekend. My wife and baby were out of town. They're at the lake for the weekend, and so I've just been hanging out, playing some video games, playing some DFS, and it's been a pretty good, quiet, relaxing weekend, and ready for... I too am ready for the break. I'm ready for some... no DFS, no betting, and I'm gonna. Is
it a rest? Is it take care of the pet grooming that's been neglected, or the household project, or go on a little trip somewhere? What's the 4 days, or just do nothing? What's the 4 days entail?
I think I don't know what the 4 days are going to entail yet, but mostly rest, but above all, no looking at my phone. That's going to be the biggest thing. I'm not going to have too much going on for Agents of Fandom early in the week yet. I already wrote my Superman review. Fantastic Four is still a couple weeks away. And so biggest thing is just going to be not looking up at my phone very much, and trying to just keep that away and turn off from the rest of the world and just be on where I am.
Tim, what you got planned for the break?
Not a lot. I don't really provide as much content as TJ does, so it's not going to be as useful as a break for me. I don't have a young child either. My daughter is 15, so those late nights are not as prevalent nowadays. I don't really have any strict plans, but I'm going to enjoy some of the beautiful weather that we're having up here in Maine this time of year.
We've had a lot of storms these last few days. Everyone is always super excited for the break, and if you're truly planning to unplug and recharge, or go on a little mini trip for a couple days, whatever, that's great. But invariably, I'm not speaking to any one person in general, but the public at large, right? The Twitter feed on like Tuesday night or Wednesday will be like, the only thing I have to bet on is Ukrainian, ping pong or whatever. It's just there's no sports to bet on. It's just it's table tennis and maybe ATP tennis and stuff like that. But So if you're used to betting and doing all that and sweating those during the days, the 4 days, it just becomes pretty brutal. But if you're truly looking to unplug and recharge, it's certainly welcome over the course of a 6-month grind. All right, so let's move forward to today. We do have one more slate to try to win some money before the break hits. In terms of weather today, so I mentioned it's 11 games. We've had a lot of weather over the course of the few days. So I live in the Midwest. We've had some terrible storms. Thursday and Friday were pretty bad. Yesterday, not much. Neighbors lost a tree, which invariably they're going to have to replace a power line. I don't think they're going to do that on a Sunday. Hopefully they don't take my power out during the middle of the show here. But speaking of the Midwest, the only major weather concern today is in St. Louis, where Roth has updated that forecast to orange, with basically storms rolling throughout the afternoon hours. Somebody had just asked him on X right before the show, at what time will it be completely dry in St. Louis? And he said 6 o'clock. That's a long time to wait the day before the All-Star break, when guys probably have, golf plans and all that stuff, the players anyway. So, and the Braves also don't go back to St. Louis. So it will be interesting to see how they handle that. I think the orange rating is certainly appropriate, given the context. So all depends on how long that they want to wait. If you're planning on using Sonny Gray, it's definitely a concern. And there's so much high-end pitching today that I think at this point, it's probably not worth that type of risk. Other weather, a couple of green, yellows, yellow greens, nothing major. No huge winds to speak of. So, Tim, given that forecast, you steering away from the St. Louis game? I mean, it's not like it's a small slate, so we've got enough options.
Yeah, I'm a single entry player. If I was playing, 20 teams or so, I would get exposure to especially that St. Louis side for bats. I really don't have really much interest in Sonny Gray at all. So in that game, it would just be St. Louis bats, which I still think you could take small shots on if you're building out a portfolio of teams, like I said. But as a single entry 3-max type player like myself, I'm completely staying away from that game.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem to make sense at this point, and the Cardinals have had a weird kind of habit of pulling him at like 80 pitches anyways, so it doesn't seem like the best slate to take a shot on Gray at this point, given the weather. So kind of taking that into to context, let's go ahead and start breaking down the pitching side of the slate today. We've got a lot of high-end arms, so even without Sonny Gray, you've got Hunter Brown and Nathan Eovaldi. They're going head-to-head today. We've got Logan Gilbert, Freddie Peralta. Jack Flaherty is pitching today as well. So lots of good high-end pitchers. Probably worth two conversations. So let's keep the value guys separate for now. Let's just talk about these high-end aces, SP1s. What kind of exposure do you have? What kind of exposure are you looking to get to these guys? TJ, what are you looking at here?
So I think the one I'm gonna prioritize, like obviously I'll let you and Tim speak to the cash game perspective and what to do there. But from a tournament standpoint, I think I'm gonna be looking to get overweight on Hunter Brown. I was more excited to do this earlier in the day, writing the survey when his ownership was right around 20%, and Gilbert and Peralta were both above 30. And so Peralta is going down and Brown's going up a little bit throughout the morning. That made me a little less firm on wanting to get way overweight on Brown and underweight on the other two. And so as it stands right now, I'm probably going to be going pretty close to a 33 split of all of them. Like I'll have more than 33%, but I'll have about the same third of all of these guys today. And so I would probably go Gilbert 1, Brown 2, Peralta 3 now, where ownership is as it stands. But I might end up with a little bit more Brown than Gilbert.
Yeah, I was kind of weighing Brown versus Gilbert at the start of the day, and then I don't know. It's a really tricky hodgepodge here. And Tim, I think you're a pro. I'll give my opinion last here. As a single entry player, I think is pretty unique as far as how to handle this top tier also. So, Tim, what do you got for high end pitching today?
Yeah, it's super tough to decide between Peralta, Brown, and Gilbert. They project very similarly. Their projected ownership, I think, is going to be pretty close as well. So you're not really getting much advantage, getting off ownership, versus one or the other. I'm going to stick with Freddie Peralta today at 10K. And I should say really quick on FanDuel, there is kind of a significant price difference. You save 1,100 going from Peralta from Brown, and then Gilbert's 9,200. So I think over there, it's still going to be Peralta for me, but I think you could make the case for Gilbert there as well. Whereas Brown, I think, is going to be the lowest owned option over on FanDuel. So he's fine for large field stuff. But back to DK, back to single entry and cash type builds, it's going to be Freddie Peralta for me. I think that this is a pretty solid matchup for him. He has been pitching pretty well as of late. So I think 10K is a super, super fair price. One quick note, Jake Berger just got scratched. So that's just one. Get him out of your lineups if you had him. But yeah, Peralta is my guy. And then I think I'd rank them Peralta, Gilbert, Brown on the high end for me.
Yeah, and not necessarily going wrong with any of these guys. They all have strikeout props of 6.5. But if you look at the numbers, like Hunter Brown and Logan Gilbert have the higher strikeout rates. They have the better numbers, and that's usually what I go with. And as I was doing the research right in the article today, I landed on Peralta as well, which feels a little weird to me, given that he doesn't have the as high as strikeouts as the other guys. But you look at, this is a unique day from a baseball perspective, right? It's the last day before a 4-day break, particularly these bad teams. It's pretty easy to mail it in. I mean, this is subjective, obviously, but the Nationals got walked off yesterday. They're not playing well. They're not going anywhere this year. The Brewers have won 6 in a row. They're the hottest team in the league. And Peralta's been really good against left-handed bats, which is a lefty-heavy lineup for Washington. James Wood isn't in there today, so it's a pretty weak lineup as well. And so I've landed on Peralta as my favorite top-end arm, but it's pretty close among them. And you'll probably see ownership pretty similar among them as well. So you're not doing it wrong anyway. You slice it, it's splitting hairs, but just definitely out on Sonny Gray now with the weather. These other high-end options like Flaherty, I guess he's maybe more of the mid-range, would be GPP only. So let's talk about the cheaper stuff now, because obviously you can go double spend if you want on DK, or you can go cheaper. So TJ, which approach you like, the double spend, or you like some of these cheap guys?
Double spend is going to be my priority, but I'll absolutely just playing 150 lineups, have quite a few where I land on one of these cheaper guys as well. Brown, Gilbert, and Peralta will be my 3 highest owned. My first 2 choices, if I am going cheap, are Nick Martinez and Yuri Perez. Nick Martinez, why? He's facing the Rockies. The Rockies are terrible. Singer gave up a few runs last night, and he still ended up striking out 9 of them. Martinez, not a big strikeout guy, but this is still the Colorado Rockies, and so absolutely going to be playing him today. And then the only other, I have 6 pitchers in my pool today for 150 lineups. The only other guy I'm running is Ryan Pepio at 8.8, just because he's going to be really low owned, and he strikes out 31% of left-handed bats. Bregman is back, but outside of that, all of the Boston bats, all the ones we're scared of, are left-handed. And so I do think there's a lot of downside. Boston's been playing really well lately, but I think there's a really big ceiling in there too. So he'll be my lowest owned of the group, but I am going to be playing a little bit of Ryan Pepio as well.
All right. So some people asking in the chat, Don Yeezy says nobody likes Gray. So if you missed the very beginning of the show, pretty significant weather concern in St. Louis. They might have to wait it out like 4 to 5 hours before it clears out. Who knows if they will. And with Sonny Gray rarely getting to, I think they pulled him at like 76 pitches or something in his last start. Like, he has the occasional start where he gets up there, but they really don't like to stretch him, particularly with a break coming. I just think the weather makes it not worth the risk to look at Sonny Gray today. A few people in the YouTube chat are talking about Uvalde. I don't have anything necessarily against Uvalde, but 10% projected ownership. If you're looking to go for a lower owned guy, he maybe doesn't have the ceiling as some of these other guys, but I wouldn't hate it if you decided to go with Uvalde, particularly if you're multi-entering in tournaments today. So
he would probably be the next guy added to my pool if I was going to be adding somebody, but I just need to see him throw more pitches first. 70 pitches in his first 2 starts, coming off of the IL, and there's now going to be a really big break. I kind of feel like they could start ramping him up after the All-Star break. And so I need to see Evaldi throw a few more pitches, even if he gets 80 on a day where I'm strictly looking for ceilings because I think somebody's going to have a big game. I don't really want to go Evaldi on 80 pitches. If it was Evaldi on 95 pitches, yes, absolutely, he'd be in my pool. But that pitch count just worries me a little bit.
All right, Tim, cheaper stuff. SP2 today. Again, single entry. You going double spend, or are you looking for one of these cheaper guys as your SP2?
I'm probably going to go with one of these cheaper guys. Like, I haven't completely ruled out going double spend, and I certainly don't think that it's like quote unquote the wrong thing if you go double spend in single entry because there are such good pitchers at the high end today. But I think I'm leaning. It's looking like I might be going Jack Flaherty at 8,500. It seems a little bit scary just given that there's better pitches above him, but he does have a ceiling when it comes to pitch count. He does have a really nice K rate on the season. You know, the Mariners are not quite the K matchup that they used to be, but he's 8,500, so I think it's a really, really nice price point. The Nick Martinez argument I think is completely valid at 7K. I wouldn't fault anybody if they wanted to use him in single entry GPPs just because that Rockies matchup is just so advantageous. So, I mean, if people want to take advantage of that, that's fine. I agree with TJ on Eovaldi. I'm concerned that he's just not going to have the right pitch count today. So I'm out on him. I do agree with the Pepio call at 8,800. I think he's a pretty interesting large field GPP play. I wouldn't necessarily play him in single entry, but I'm fine in other formats. You know, I know that we're going to go a little bit lower here, so I'll just start off with, I mean, I love Yuri Perez. I was kind of excited when I read Justin's Covering the Bases article that he's very high on Yuri Perez, and I see him tagged in Lineup HQ as well. He's definitely, like, I would prefer going him, you know, it's kind of like I'm kind of debating Jack Flaherty or Yuri Perez depending on what I want to do with my stacks. And this is for, you know, single entry GPP. This is for my primary single entry team. So it's really a debate in my eyes because Yuri Perez, I mean, he was a highly touted prospect, and now he's healthy again, and he's 6,500. And this Orioles team just isn't, you know, what we thought they were. So I think that this price point at 6,500 is really, really nice. I would rather go Perez over guys like Nick Martinez if I was like landing around that price point.
Yeah, I really like Yuri Perez today. I mean, Jansen junked through 7 shutout innings against the Orioles yesterday. Didn't strike anybody out, or a couple, I think 2 Ks. But Perez, really good strikeout arm. We've seen this Orioles offense disappoint all year. The only thing that's held Perez back, I mean, he was an elite prospect when he first came into the league. And it's probably been, 3 years ago now. But injuries, you know, pretty much every year, he just hasn't been able to get into a rhythm. He's finally gotten there. He's, you know, made 7 starts in a row or something like that without an injury. 13 Ks, 1 walk his last 2 starts. Really good start to the month of July. And super cheap. I mean, he's not quite as cheap on FanDuel, and plus you only get the 1 pitcher over there, but 6,500 on DK. If you sort our projections by point per dollar, he's the number 1 guy on the board. So I really like Yuri Perez. I'd play him over Cantillo, who will probably get some discussion for Cleveland. He's got good numbers in a limited sample, but the White Sox aren't a huge K team for all their struggles. I would take Perez if deciding between the two.
Do you mind if I just answer a question in chat real quick?
No, go for it.
So Alex asks, is Perez viable for DK cash? This is one that I'm currently kind of debating in my mind right now also. I kind of think you need some more raw points floors. So I'm kind of thinking Perez is not for cash. I'm leaning Peralta Flaherty right now, but it's super close. Like, I don't think it'd be horrible if you played Perez in cash. I'm leaning no. And then another question that's kind of related. Would you play Martinez and Perez in single entry? My assessment is it's kind of the same. I think you need a little bit more raw points.
It's definitely contrarian.
It's contrarian. I'm just, I know that matchup against the Rockies is fantastic, but like TJ pointed out, Nick, he's such a low K rate pitcher. It's just worries me because one of these guys, like a couple of these guys, conceivably could really crush the slate at pitching. So I'm just worried that you're giving up too many raw points if you go double spend down. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, different, lots of different ways to approach this slate from a pitching perspective. It's very pitching heavy, so that's I think we've covered most of it. TJ, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, just one more question of FanDuel single entry. Who's the pitcher? I put up the optimal rates on SimLabs, and I just, in a single entry setting, I can't imagine not going Logan Gilbert at that price.
Yeah, he's really cheap on FanDuel for sure. Don't mind. I like him a lot more on FanDuel with the way that lineup build works than on DK. All right, TJ, can go ahead and set the stage here as far as likes, Spidey bombs. Looks like we got one scrolling along the bottom of the screen. What do we have today?
First Spidey bomb, Michael Busch leading off today, plus 400. Second one coming at 100 likes, so keep hitting that like button. We had Randy Arozarena smash one out of the park yesterday, so let's keep it going. First one, Michael Busch, plus 400.
And Tim had mentioned when he was chatting about Jake Berger getting scratched for the Rangers, which is accurate. Osuna is in for him and is hitting 8th. Not that I think anybody's really itching to play Texas against Hunter Brown, but if you are, there you go. The Cardinals have activated Ivan Herrera from the injured list, so he's in the lineup today. That lineup dropped basically right as we came on the air. Again, there's weather concerns there, but Herrera is back for the Cardinals. Sounds like Nootbaar might be going to the IL for them. Nothing else in the way of updates, I think, since we have started. So let's go ahead and talk stacks now. Interesting call. Oh, that's what I was going at. Well, I got sidetracked by those lineups when I went to look some of them up when TJ was mentioning that Michael Busch was leading off for the Cubs. So definitely think that's interesting the way they've constructed their lineups. Got some of that lefty power at the top of the order, Tucker and PCA in between Suzuki there, along with Busch leading off. So that's 1 through 4. Kelly 5. They've dropped Happ down to 6. They've dropped Swanson down to 7. Nico Horner 8 and Bruhan 9. And if you wanted a YOLO option for your GPP pool, I'm always a sucker for the strikeout upside of Will Warren. It's a really tough matchup, so that's risk reward for sure. I definitely prefer Yuri Perez if you're looking at somebody like that, but Will Warren he's in my MME pool for a sprinkle if you're building like 100 lineups today. All right, let's talk stacks here. Tim, I'll throw this to you first. From a single entry type of perspective, your favorite stack today, or if you were building multiple lineups, what are a few of the teams that grade out at the top for you?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm just looking at strictly like raw point projection, probably the Reds are the top overall stack of the day. I do fear that they are going to be fairly popular, but they haven't been great the last couple of days. Like they definitely busted 2 days ago. They sort of busted yesterday, although some guys did get there at least a little bit. So I think the Reds are going to be pretty popular. I don't mind them. Obviously, going up against Austin Gomber, they're completely fine. I think getting exposure to the Reds, in a couple spots in cash games is a good idea today. But GPPs, it's pretty wide open today. I do like the Yankees quite a bit going up against Imanaga. So I do like the Yankees a lot. Obviously, guys like Aaron Judge, you can play just as a one-off, but I think that full stack, adding in Paul Goldschmidt, I think is a really good idea as well. So I'm pretty high. I'm pretty high on the Yankees. I know that I don't mind the Rays today against Bayo. Probably not in cash, but you could definitely get to them in GBPs. Yeah, and then I think it's pretty like wide open after that. The Twins, I think, are interesting. I know that Cards brought up the Marlins in his article, I'm pretty sure, and I thought that was a pretty interesting take as well. I probably wouldn't full stack the Marlins, but getting to like a 3-man of them, I think is interesting. So I think I'd rank them Yankees 1, Reds 2, Rays 3, Marlins 4, and Twins 5.
All right. We got a comment in the YouTube chat from the Spaniard saying, yeah, I'm noticing that American women are hard to please on a long-term basis. My guy, I don't know where you got that from our show. I think you got lost in the wrong chat there.
He was asking for the panel how to make women happy.
Well, I don't know if you're looking for advice on this show during the MLB DFS lock hour. You probably that's got to be a post lock question. But we'll leave that for the others to decipher. I completely lost my train of thought when I saw that. I was going to comment something about the stacks that Tim was mentioning, but that completely took over my my brain when I saw it. So, TJ, what do you got for stacks today?
Chat's going crazy. Let's we're just gonna keep it going. I'm just not going to address it. I'm just going to say shout out to Candace Reynolds in chat. I'm still just about to have my first build come through, so I'll just figure out exactly the amount I'll have of each team in a couple minutes. But one of my favorites for large field GPPs, even single entry, I think I would be going with is the Minnesota Twins. Love the Twins today. They're nice and cheap. Bunch of lefties in there that look good. Plus, you got your Byron Buxtons that you can mix in also. So I love myself some Twins today. The Reds are obviously the top stack, but I also really like the Mariners coming in at super low projected ownership. Give me a ton of Cal Raleigh at low ownership today, and let's watch him break the pre-All-Star break home run record. Most players over 30 home runs in the history of the MLB this year. Keep giving us those juice balls. I love to see it. As somebody who's picking home run bets every single day. Other teams that I am wanting to get to a lot today, the Yankees, as I just honestly am going to be targeting a ton of Aaron Judge, and I'll probably be not full stacking them a ton. I like the Cubs. I like Milwaukee. Cleveland against Savali, I think, is very interesting. And then I don't think I'm going to be playing a lot of Nick Martinez, but I don't think it's going to be I don't think there's anything wrong with stacking up some Rockies today either.
Yeah, I mean, the home runs are I don't know. I've kind of I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Of course, I grew up so I was a teenager in the era of the Sosa, McGuire, and then Barry Bonds, juiced ball, steroids, home run era, whatever you want to call it. And I mean, obviously the optics aside of steroids being involved, like the game of baseball, I just think was enjoyable back then. You had high scoring games, and now you've got, these home run or bust or 25% strikeout rates. And I don't know. I hope long term that there's something done to increase scoring in the league again.
Card said, let them do steroids.
Yeah, I'm not telling you. I wasn't trying to just come out and say, let them do steroids. I don't know what the the solution is. Put every ballpark at huge elevation and have everybody play at Coors Field all the time, but or changes to the pitcher's mound, which almost certainly wouldn't get by in a collective bargaining agreement. But I don't know, Tim, what are your thoughts?
What, on stacks?
Well, no, sorry, I was getting off topic. Just
how to please women, Tim.
On scoring in baseball, and are you a fan of the way that the game is today, or
no?
I'm not.
I want to roll it back. I always want to roll it back. Cards. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I hate this new idea of fun that they're having. I think it's terrible.
We banned the shift though, so it's all figured out. Yeah, it's give us some more small ball and run scoring. We'll see. All right, that's neither here nor there for today's purposes. I think we've gone through the pitching and the stacks. We'll go position by position here and then take some questions before the end of the show. We got a half an hour left till lock, so plenty of time to get through that. Reminder before we do about RG Combo Pro, the MLB DFS annual option here at RotoGrinders, $425. However, we also dropped the price of the entire Combo Pro product to mirror the MLB annual package so you can get more stuff for the same price. Combo Pro 6-month gives you full access to all content, tools, and projections for every sport except for NASCAR at a cheaper price than the monthly package. You can save about 35% by choosing 6-month instead of monthly. So get those MLB projections, PGA data. They're grinding out some summer league lineup stuff for NBA these days. So lots of stuff going on over at RotoGrinders. Check us out, rotogrinders.com. All right, let's go position by position here. We'll start, kind of give, since Tim's kind of more the single entry type and he plays some cash games, I'll give Tim the first crack at takes on the positions, and then I'll throw it to TJ for his tournament exposures, etc. And then we will get to your questions. So, Tim, catcher, what do we got today?
Yeah, if you're looking for a cash game catcher, I think it's Agustin Ramirez batting third, 3,700. I mentioned that I kind of like some pieces of that Marlins lineup, so I think that he's also fine for single entry GPPs. If you don't want to go Ramirez and you want like a more, what I consider more potent offense around the same price, would be Tyler Stevenson at 3,800 going up against Gomber. So those two would be like my cash game type optimal catchers. I wouldn't mind saving maybe with a Sal Perez at 3,500, and then obviously the big dumper at 6,100 is completely fine if you want to get contrarian.
Yeah, that salary has gotten to the point where it scares people away, particularly against a good pitcher. But I mean, he hit 2 home runs in a game the other night that Skubal started. I mean, he hit him after Skubal came out of the game, but always capable of a big night is Cal Raleigh. So, TJ, thoughts at catcher?
Yeah, Raleigh's going to be my top option. I feel like I'm going to have a lot of these cheap stacks with double barrel pitchers so that I can include a Raleigh or a Judge with my double barrel pitchers. I am at 100 of 150 lineups right now, so shortly I'll be able to tell you exactly my exposures, but I'm hoping that Cal Raleigh is going to be my highest owned option today in the outfield. I like Bo Naylor as a punt, batting 6th against Savali, one of my favorite options. Sean Murphy batting 4th against Gray. He's just been on absolute fire recently. Don't mind Austin Wells, lefty. Don't mind some Drake Baldwin, Carson Kelly, Pedro Pajes at 2,700. But Raleigh's going to be my favorite. Then if I need to go cheap, it's Bo Naylor. And mid-tier option would be Agustin Ramirez.
Yeah, Ramirez is definitely a guy I like. If the weather holds, those guys in the Braves-Cardinals game, I think are strong. But again, you got to keep an eye on the forecast there. If we do get a further update from Roth before lock, I will pass. I'll make sure to pass it along. But I think Ramirez, Tyler Stevenson, because they're facing the Rockies, are probably going to get the most attention in terms of cash game type of builds.
I nailed it. 15% Cal Raleigh, 11% Naylor, 11% Ramirez, 10% Murphy. So those are my guys above double digits and right on where we thought.
For what it's worth, if you are into betting the home run derby tomorrow, the aforementioned Cal Raleigh is at plus 300 along with O'Neal Cruz. They are the co-favorites. James Wood plus 450, Matt Olson plus 500, Brent Rooker plus 900, Byron Buxton plus 1,000, Caminero plus 1,000, Jazz Chisholm plus 1050.
I like Jazz, Rooker, Raleigh, and there was one other in the mid range. I'd probably take a shot
Wood,
on.
Olson.
Wood.
Always a long shot for me if I'm betting the home run derby. Always gonna be one of those plus 900 types. I don't mind Rooker myself.
Rooker, yeah, that's my favorite if I were going to bet on one.
Rooker plus 900. Tim, what's your home run derby call?
I'd go Wood, James Wood.
Wood plus 450. That's I just looked.
If I were making a bet, I would do 4. I would do Raleigh, Wood, Rooker, Chisholm. But if I were only doing 1, it would be Rooker.
All right. Yeah, I don't mind Wood and Rooker, but of course it's a little bit of a crapshoot. But if you're looking for something, everyone's gonna be wondering what to bet on tomorrow because there's nothing on. There's no baseball. All right, let's go ahead and move to first base now. Tim, what do you got at first today?
Yeah, Paul Goldschmidt is most likely your cash game guy today, although there are other first basemen that I do like as pivots around that same price point. Spencer Steer at 4K. Marlins Orioles delayed until 150. So Kyle Manzardo at 3,200.
Is that 150? 5-0?
Yep.
All right, so that's a 15-minute delay. Should be fine.
Yeah. So first base, Paul Goldschmidt, Spencer Steer, Kyle Manzardo. If you are not as high on Yuri Perez as I am, I don't mind like Ryan O'Hearn as like a one-off today. So there's quite a few players like right around that 4K price point that I like at first base today. If you're looking to spend up to be contrarian, I wouldn't mind Pete Alonso would probably be my preferred one-off.
All right, TJ, first base calls today. What do we got?
I did forget to drop. I have it scrolling, but I forgot to announce it out loud. Spidey Bum number 2 is plus 350. Matt Wallner. So we have Michael Busch, Matt Wallner, Isan Hines in chat saying Wood isn't playing today. We were talking about home run bets for tomorrow, for the home run derby, not for
not for just today,
not for today, for home run derby winners. But yeah, so Matt Wallner plus 350, Michael Busch plus 400. Third one coming at 150 likes. So keep smashing that like button. In terms of first baseman I'm getting to today, Spencer Steer is my highest owned, followed by Kyle Manzardo, and then Michael Busch, number 3. Love the idea of getting to him as a one-off. It's pissing me off that the Twins don't bat him higher, but he's just continuously smashing, and that's Cody Clemens. I'd probably rather play him at second, but I'm okay punting at first base too, with some Cody Clemens, and then Contreras, Goldschmidt, Rayleigh, Toglia. After that, it's mostly only in stacks for me. But Steer, Manzardo, Busch are going to be the 3 guys that I'm frequently getting to as one-offs at the first base position. No O'Neill Cruz for...
Yeah, the Pirates lineup just dropped. I was going to mention that. So that's a significant downgrade if you have to be...
Home run derby guys are getting the day off outside.
Yeah, you got Wood and Cruz not in the lineup today. They need to save up their energy for tomorrow. But the Pirates lineup is Horwitz, McCutchen, Reynolds, Gonzalez, Pham, Sawinski, Hayes, Davis, and IKF. That could be the worst lineup I've ever seen in the history of baseball. That's probably a bit...
All of these lineups today that are really bad, and there's a few of them, genuinely, I'm still just like, cool, let's play them because we have 2 10K plus pitchers we want to play.
Yeah. Yeah, and this day tends to be quite wonky, so after I called it the worst lineup to ever be submitted in a Major League Baseball game, I'm sure the Pirates will shove that back in my face with 12 runs or something like that. So, and I do have Brian Reynolds tagged as a value.
I got some Pirates.
I cannot wait for that statement to blow up in my face. But no O'Neill Cruz, nonetheless. Your Pirate stacks just became more affordable if you want the silver lining. There you go. Tim, let's move to second base. What do we got?
Yeah, second base really is not that great today. It really hasn't been all season. I get Matt McLean is probably your priority spending cash games just because the position just really isn't that good. So I'd be willing to spend that $4,600 on McLean. I kind of like Willie Castro today just because I'm pretty high on Minnesota. So I don't mind him as part of a stack or just part of as a contrarian one-off. I think he's fine. I don't mind Xavier Edwards either at 3,900. There really isn't. I mean, obviously Jazz is okay, but I mean, he's really expensive. There really isn't a spend up second baseman that I would feel comfortable at other than McLean. The rest of the options for me would just be like hovering around this 3 to 4K range.
Yeah, the infield positions, second and third, the last couple days have been a bit rough. Trying to find options to like. I mean, if you just sort by gross fantasy points on DK, the only guy we have projected above 9 is McLean. And I don't love like Westberg against Yuri Perez, and Brendan Donovan's got a weather concern. It's just a little bit uncomfortable. So, you can go with that cheap Pirates guy if you want to go with Nick Gonzalez. Bryce Terang, I don't mind, but it's just not the greatest position today. TJ, second base, what do you got?
I'm not too worried. I'm playing the St. Louis and Atlanta game as though I wouldn't touch pitchers, but bats. I think they're going to get this game done at some point today, so I'm okay with playing the bats. And so I really like punting with Thomas Sagazy batting fifth today for St. Louis. That's probably my favorite outside of who Tim already mentioned, Willie Castro. Castro is going to be my main guy today. Absolutely love him. Sagazy number 2, Clemens number 3. And then outside of that, it's only in stacks. I do recognize that Matt McLean is the best play, but I think he's going to come in higher owned than 13%. I think it's going to be closer to about 20. And so I will be only playing McLean in stacks today.
I'm generally underweight the Reds myself with stacks today, and it's uncomfortable, right? Because there's not a whole lot of high-end offense, so you feel like you should be playing the Reds, but they don't have the best splits overall against lefties, and they're going to be really popular because it's a slate that doesn't offer much for bats. So I didn't really provide my thoughts when we did stacks, but I'm underweight the Reds, probably most overweight the Yankees in terms of my exposure today. All right, that takes us through second base. Tim, third base, another weak position today. What do you got?
Yeah, not a great position. I think it comes down to kind of like what you are prioritizing for the rest of your lineup. So Jose Ramirez is obviously the top option if you have the 5,500. If you don't, it's probably Noelvi Marte at 3,900. So it's kind of depends on what you're doing with the rest of your team. I don't really mind either one. I currently am going J-Ram on my personal team. If you don't have the money for Marte, I think Ryan McMahon's actually pretty interesting today at 3,100, just because he does have some pop, and Martinez is not a high strikeout guy. So I think he has, a small chance at a really, really cheap price tag. I like that call by TJ on Sagacy at 2,300. And then I also just want to mention Royce Lewis also at 2,600.
So JC's he's an okay prospect for the Cardinals. They've basically brought him up whenever they've needed an injury replacement. He had really good numbers in the minors, but I laughed because the other day on the broadcast, so he's got 82 at bats, and he got like a RBI double or something the other day, and they said that it was his first hit on the season with runners in scoring position, which was frightening. But he's just had some bad luck with runners in scoring position. So
they just always bat him in a good lineup spot.
Yeah, well, that's probably more of an indictment of the Cardinals than anything. But he should be better. He should be better than the numbers he's posted so far. Is what I'm getting at. He's just hit into some bad luck. So if they get that game in today, like the Braves. I don't know what the Braves are doing. Grant Holmes only threw 3 innings on Friday, and then they used a bullpen game yesterday, and now they're using a bullpen game again today. Like, who do they have left to pitch? Iglesias has pitched in both games. Montero's pitched in both games. So the Braves are basically just cobbling it together today. So assuming that game is eventually going to go, I don't mind the Cardinals as individual plays or as a stack, just the risk with the weather. TJ, third base.
Not a whole lot to add here for me. It's another one of those cases where, like, yeah, Jose Ramirez top play, but I'll be a little underweight. Marte, Sagazy, Royce Lewis, like Tim mentioned, those are going to be my 3 highest owned guys here today. I like the Ryan McMahon call. I think you can play Jazz lefty, cheap Monasterio if you're stacking up the Brewers, but Marte and Sagazy, Lewis, those are my top guys just based on I need some cheapies. And then if you can afford them, it's Jose Ramirez.
We've got shortstop and outfield to go, and then we will take some questions, throw them in the YouTube, but we would prefer them in the RotoGrinders Discord. I have just pulled that open, rotogrinders.com/Discord. We are in the live stream chat channel. I see we've got a few questions in there, so I will grab those as soon as we get done with the last couple of positions. Shortstop, Tim, what do you got?
Yeah, Ellie De La Cruz is your top overall option. He's in a tremendous spot yet again today. He's going to be pretty popular also, so it's fine if you want to fade him in GPPs. I think Bobby Witt is going to go very overlooked today, so he's a really strong pivot that you can make for GPPs. But I think Ellie or Gunner probably are your cash game guys. I'm pretty high on Perez, so I'm going Ellie. But shortstop is very, very strong today. You could even make the case to play Lindor in a GPP as well. Trevor Story, I think, is completely fine for GPPs. And then if you need somebody cheap, I guess it would be Carlos Correa, but I would really lean on spending at least 4,500 in cash game type builds.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a spend position with you on that. And I'm on Perez as well, so with you on being underweight on Gunner myself, but always an option to spend at short. TJ, your thoughts at shortstop?
I am muted, so there we go. Ellie De La Cruz is going to be the one spend-up guy that I'm playing fairly heavily, and he's also going to be the one Reds player that I'm comfortable wanting off a lot. He and Spencer Steer. Yes, he's going to be owned, but he just has so many different ways to get there. I'm outside of Ellie. I'm honestly going cheap a lot here. Like, I'm not getting to a ton of Gunnar Henderson, Corey Seager, Bobby Witt. It's Ellie or it's cheap guys in stacks for me, just because I'm spending up at pitcher so often today. So like Correa, JP Crawford, Anthony Volpe, Mason Wynn, like Ryan Ritter. It feels disgusting, but that's who I'm kind of going with at short today, outside of Ellie, who I have in a quarter of my lineups.
All right, outfield, and then we will get to questions. Always lots of options here. Tim, what do you like for outfielders today?
I just one last thing I really like. I want to mention, like, I love the idea of doing a gross, super cheap vomit stack, like a Pittsburgh or something like that, with Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh, and Ellie De La Cruz. Like, I think that's a very viable strategy today, where outside of Cincinnati, no offenses like really, really stand out. Play a terrible, cheap offense and play them with Judge, Raleigh, and Ellie De La Cruz. You might get a combined 100 points from each of from those three, and then just hope your stack scores a couple runs.
So somebody mentioned in the YouTube chat that they could hear Tim's dog snoring. Was that legit? So I heard something a minute ago. I was trying to figure out what it was. I couldn't figure out what it was.
Yeah, it was probably my French bulldog snoring.
How far away from you is he?
She is probably about 8 feet from me.
Okay, not on your lap or anything, obviously.
No. I would show her if she was on my lap, but no, she's not.
Well, enjoying a nap for sure.
Definitely.
All right, TJ, outfield. Did you just do outfield? I've lost track of where I was.
I'll start with outfield.
Oh, okay. We didn't do outfield yet. All right.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about Aaron Judge really quick. So I'm playing J-Ram and Ellie, so I can't fit Aaron Judge. But obviously, Aaron Judge is a fantastic play in all formats. It could be a really bad mistake by me not playing Judge in cash, but I'm just leaning J-Ram and Ellie today. But Judge is obviously fantastic. I love Byron Buxton in GPPs today. He's probably my favorite, spend up to be somewhat different in GPPs in the outfield. If you're going to go a little bit lower, I don't mind Juan Soto in that range as well. Jaron Duran batting leadoff for Boston at 4,700. I think he's fantastic. Giancarlo Stanton at 3,500. I think is in a really good spot. Jesus Sanchez at 36. I think that's a good strong cash game play in the outfield. We haven't talked much about Milwaukee today. I don't mind taking like a one-off of like Christian Yelich at 4,900. Just I think that's an interesting spot. And if you really need somebody below 3K, probably Brenton Doyle. He's projecting pretty well in the bat right now, and he's really really cheap. So he's an interesting salary saving option. And I don't mind, as gross as it sounds, I don't mind Tommy Pham also.
Talk about how gross their lineup is now. Everybody's bringing up the Pirates. It's totally happening for sure now. The Pirates are going to go nuts. Jake Bauers is hitting 6th today for the Brewers as well, at 2,900 if you are looking for another punt down in that cheap range on DK. All right, TJ, outfield, what do you got?
Aaron Judge is my highest owned guy, and then it's a bunch of twins. Willie Castro, Matt Wallner, the Spidey Bomb, Byron Buxton, getting to a ton of twins today. Pete Crow Armstrong, always one of my favorite plays on the slate. Alec Burleson is a cheapie I like. Randy Arozarena has been red hot, so I'll keep going there. Brenton Doyle is one of my favorite cheap plays on the slate, batting 5th. Nick Martinez is reverse splitsy. I think he's probably knocking one out of the park today. I really like Brenton Doyle as a one-off. Trevor Larnach, Sal Frelick, Brian Reynolds. Outside of Aaron Judge, PCA, and Byron Buxton, I'm not spending up too much here.
All right, we will get to the questions again in the RotoGrinders Discord is where we prefer you to drop those. rotogrinders.com/Discord into the live stream chat channel. We've got a few of them in there, so we'll get caught up on those from earlier in the show.
20 likes away from Spuddy Bum, number 3, and I won't even make us wait till 200 for number 4. I'll drop the 3rd at 150, 4th at 175. So keep hitting that like button.
All
It
right.
looks like this Miami Baltimore game is getting further delayed now.
Just trying to sell more beers, Tim. Got to get a little more revenue.
Is that all it is? Okay.
I don't know. Cardinals will be selling plenty of beers today if the game is delayed for about 3 hours. I will check back for updates from Roth here for sure before we actually that game was supposed to lock at 1:35, the Orioles game. So let's just go ahead and do that now.
Trying to do last minute different builds, get them in here, and I want to just get some more of these cheap vomit stacks that I was talking about. But in addition to that, I did one question I wanted to bring up because we've talked about lots how terrible this Pittsburgh lineup looks now, and it's something Maria Donizzi brought up in the YouTube chat earlier. Is Simeon Woods Richardson in play at 6,400 with this terrible Pittsburgh lineup?
Yeah, that was a question in the Discord as well from Coach B. So, look, I'm not a big Woods Richardson guy, but it's almost like any pitcher facing the Rockies now. It's any pitcher facing the Pirates without O'Neal Cruz. I mean, I'm probably still not going to play him. I'm sure. I mean, Tim, I presume you're not getting to him in single entry.
Yeah, he's not somebody that's on my radar. I mean, I get the idea behind it just because the Pirates are so awful. I'm not really into guys like Woods Richardson or Cantillo. If I'm going to go that low, it's going to be Perez. Although this weather is making me a little bit concerned.
Yeah, just Baltimore just tweeted out there will be a further delay. No more specifics at this point. I mean, Roth didn't seem too concerned. I haven't seen a panic tweet from Roth just yet, so I presume it's still going to be fine. But that's about all I can provide for updates at this point.
He says the game will finish regardless. Like he says, spotty showers and storms. If they pop up over the ballpark, it'll be a delay. But
yeah, and obviously Miami doesn't go back to Baltimore, so I presume they'll wait this one out. All right, on to the Discord questions.
One more from YouTube that I want to touch on, just because other people are probably noticing it. Mr. Relevant bringing up DK has O'Neal Cruz listed in the lineup, but the Pirates Twitter does not, nor do we. Never listen to DK on that. Always look at the stuff we have and the official stuff, because DK gets that wrong all the time. So O'Neal Cruz is not in the lineup.
All right, Bill T had mentioned the reason I brought up only having ping pong to bet on with no baseball over the next week is because I'm going to be doing that. No comment on that. Was no judgment to be passed on my ping pong comment. All right, Jib7, best bat on FanDuel for $3,200 or less. that is not a Red or a Brewer. So we've got some qualifications in there. There's a lot of guys in that price range on
I'd go
FanDuel.
Stanton. I'd go Stanton.
Yeah, I was gonna say Stanton, and did you say 3,200 or less? You said 3,200 or less. So if you don't have Goldschmidt at 3,200, I think is definitely the play. Bates D said no love for Milwaukee bats. We kind of caught up on that in the outfield. I mean, the Brewers are never super chalky, and I don't know, they've been playing really good baseball. They don't have all the star power outside of, Yelich is a big name, but I like the Brewers today. I think I put them as kind of my number 2 overall stack. All right, Woods Richardson in play. We discussed that. Blink 182 Rue. TJ, I'll throw this to you. Large field DK tournament. 4,500 left for his last outfielder. Thoughts and suggestions on the best play in that range for upside. Currently, he is leaning towards Julio Rodriguez.
What was the price again?
4,500 on DK for an outfielder. 4,500 or less.
I would go. Honestly, I mean, Julio is fine. I think I would go Randy Rosarena over Julio. They've both been doing really well, but like Rosarena's just been a red hot for a while, so like that's my choice. But like nothing wrong with Julio there whatsoever.
Yeah. R Berm 71 FanDuel GPP. Tim, I'll throw this to you. Peralta and Royce Lewis to complete a Minnesota stack, or Yuri Perez with Jose Ramirez. So Peralta, Royce Lewis, Perez, Ramirez.
I guess I would go Peralta.
All right. Favorite cheap GPP pitcher from Beaner. TJ, what's your exposure like to the cheaper arms today?
Yuri Perez, by far my favorite one. I have about 33% of Yuri Perez. I did include Simeon Woods Richardson in the pool, so I have about 10% Woods Richardson, and then 20% Martinez, 15% Pepio. But Perez is my favorite of the cheap guys by far.
All right. NBA DFS is a FanDuel cash question. Tim, I will throw this to you. Judge and Bregman or J-Ram and Tucker? So spend up question.
Oh, the Judge one.
Yeah, I like Judge and Bregman as well myself. All right. Peeking for updates here. Don't see anything on Baltimore. Still don't see anything. Roth. Okay, 4 seconds ago. Perfect timing on the refresh. There go the spotty showers I mentioned in Baltimore. Higher coverage than what the model showed, but the general idea remains. It should eventually clear and play.
So it sounds like we're not changing anything, really.
Also, a small shower over the stadium in Kansas City. That's not an issue. St. Louis remains the only major concern.
Let's get these lights up, people. Still 10 away from the third Spidey bomb. I wanted to give 4, but right now we're not even at 3. Let's keep getting these lights up.
Yeah, hit the like button for sure. We'd appreciate that. We're gonna be out of here for 4 days. Just do it one time for the last 4 days. All right. Let's see. Yelich or Hayes, Tim?
I would go Hayes, but they're both good.
Reply to that one. I see that. TJ, Alonso or Michael Busch? I know you like Michael Busch as a Spidey bomb today.
Michael Busch.
All right. And Tim, best DK outfielder, 3K and under.
Might be just going with Brent Doyle.
That's the one I dropped in chat too as well. I would like Brenton Doyle, Nolan Jones, Tommy Pham are the only 3 guys I'm looking at potentially.
Maybe Jake Bowers too.
I mean, I'm just worried. I haven't looked at the bullpen for them at all, but I'm just worried that Bowers could turn into Andrew Vaughn as a lefty.
True.
Yeah, I'm not sure what their bullpen usage has been the last couple days. So they do have Chafin and another kind of weaker lefty. So they do have a couple guys, but I did not dig to see what their usage was the last few days. All right. With that, we are at the lock. Always appreciate you guys hanging out and joining us. Enjoy the 4-day break. Certainly welcomed for a lot of you that are grinding MLB DFS every day. So greatly appreciate you joining us as always. TJ, did we sneak enough for another Spidey Bomb real quick on the way out?
Not going to get the fourth one, but one more. We got the third one for the way out. So we got Brenton Doyle plus 480 as the Spidey Bomb number 3.
All right. So with that, we're out of here. Thanks to Tim for joining me. Thanks to TJ as well for producing and co-hosting. I'm Justin. We hope you enjoy the All-Star break. Until then, we'll catch you later, everybody. See you later.